is recording. Yeah, we're good.
Hello everyone, we're here at Play Hoboken in Hoboken, New Jersey, where you can do Magic the Gathering, billiards, bowling, which you might overhear, golf, and many other fun activities for the whole family. We're here to celebrate the Magic the Gathering product Duskmourn pre-release coming up this weekend. I hope to see you all there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right now we're going to be doing an unboxing of a new Play Booster set for Duskmourn. So join me in hoping to find some rares. All right, here we have 36 packs with unlimited possibilities. Let's go one at a time. I'm going to move the box out of the way, and let's get cracking. All right, that's tradition. Let's jump ahead and see what rares we get to start off the day. All right, one of the dual lands, the new set with 13 or less life to tap for 2, always a classic. And here we go, starting off with a mythic rare, one of the overlords, the blue overlord with the impending mechanic making a splash. So already a lot of value in this pack, and let's see what we have with the commons and uncommons. All right, we have a few cards that already are going to be making a big name in limited formats. If you get these, you can definitely draft. But for the most part, we see some of the new synergies with Delirium and Survival coming in ready to play. Let's go with pack number 2. Hopefully we can build on our success from the first pack and keep the ball rolling. All right, as you can see, one of these doors cards. So this is one of the new interesting mechanics we have in Duskmourn, where 2 spells are on 1 card with ability to open each individually for added effect. This is going to be a staple going into the new standard format. And here we go, Demonic Council, one of the twists on the tutors, always a staple and a great choice for those who don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on the original tutors. And of course, we see some of the limited bombs like Rite of the Moth, which has already been making a splash in the spoilers. And then of course, the set mechanic Manifest Dread as an actual card. And of course, enchantment creatures and other supporting enchantments that make the set what it is. All right, we're keeping the ball rolling. Okay, here we go. Some of the shiny commons, always fun. And another one of the dual lands that I mentioned earlier. And here we go, one of the set creatures that work with tokens to help maximize your board. Not too much power in this hand so far, but definitely a lot of the staples that if you pull during a limited run or draft will be great to have. And of course, Manifest Dread again, the set mechanic seen twice now. Keeping the ball rolling. All right, here we go. The shiny common with Eerie, the enchantment tribal. So glad to see we're getting some cards in that set. And here we go, Rip Spawn Hunter, one of the talked about creatures using the survival mechanic, channeling that 80s horror film vibe, and the potential commander for those who want to build EDH. And of course, you know, fun uncommons and commons. Here you see one of the uncommons and part of the Fear of set, which has a cycle. Again, a lot of chase rares that we're seeing, and of course the mechanics making it clear that this will be potentially a very fun set to draft, as there's a lot of versatility in each pack we've opened so far. All right, Disturbing Mirth, again, as you can see, there's Enchantment Hate and Enchantment Boons coming together, the dual land, and Dissection Tools. There's a lot of equipment in this set that's specifically tailored to call back to those 80s horror films, and this is, of course, one of the classics. You can see a lot of on-brand designs came in. Live or Die, discussed as one of the most interesting visually cards. And of course, the uncommons and commons, as always, fun to collect. There's some mana fixing, but for the most part, really there to help your limited experience, which of course Draft is hosted by Play Hoboken every week. So come out and support and have a great time. All right, Popular Egotist, one of the few Survivor cards that aren't actually a Survivor. The Dual Lands, of course. And Undead Sprinter, one of the haste cards, a fun rare that, while perhaps not super valuable, is great as limited bomb, and that it has a lot of utility and combo with other zombies. So you can see it going into a tribal deck, maybe an EDH. And of course, the uncommons and commons, which you can see Delirium, Eerie, all of the staples, again, Manifest Dread. Basically rounding out great building blocks for a standard deck. All right. Abandoned Campground, another one of the dual lands. And here we go, one of the mythic rare door enchantment rooms. So as you can see, these already have a ton of value and have been talked about in green decks, especially with graveyard mechanics, as this allows you to play lands from your graveyard and cast spells from your graveyard. So definitely a value right here and here, and fundamentally solid uncommons. And of course, some more fun artifacts that kind of make it a more flavorful set. All right, here's a Glimmer token. Glimmers are the new token introduced in this set. The Shiny Razorkin, again, the Boros red and white set, the dual land. And here we go, a full art Winter Misanthropic Guide. Definitely value right here. Everyone always appreciates potential commanders in the full art set, already making some money back. So definitely this was a good buy. You see uncommon enchantments and survivors. So a lot of synergy already built into this pack. And of course, a ton of value from that full art I just pulled. Again, for all to see. All right, and speaking of tokens, here's the Gremlin token. A lot of synergy in this deck with Gremlin generation and then sacrificing. And of course, Terramorphic Expanse for your mana fixing needs, one of the dual lands. And here's one of the actual cards that you see on the pack itself, Zimone All Questioning. Wizards, and an interesting mechanic, creating cards that focus on prime numbers. Very fun commander, nice that I already pulled it without having to look for it. And here are some more interesting heavy hitters with more, as you can see, different abilities under the uncommon set. Definitely a great pull. Some of them can actually go into your commander decks, slotting right away. Special attention to Altanok, the Thrice Called, at uncommon, but definitely a legendary you want to consider adding to your EDH. All right, Shiny Under the Skin, always fun to manifest dread, meet the set mechanic. All right, here's the value play of the day so far, Overlord of the Balemark. So this is the second Overlord I've pulled. If you recall, I pulled Overlord of the Flood Pit, so we've had the Dimir set going, Impending Mechanic, and this is, without a doubt, one of the most valuable cards we're gonna see in this set. So already exciting that I've got two Overlords, great synergy, and a lot of fun. So definitely very happy with this buy, and we're barely halfway through. Again, here we have the uncommons, which are mostly effective and limited, but we got Survival, Eerie, and enchantments. So again, we have the set mechanic that's the most interesting, which are doors. So as you can see, even without having to get rares or uncommons, this set definitely provides a lot of interesting mechanics for those looking just to draft. All right, here's a copy token. All right, well, here's the real value. Kato, Bane of the Nightmares, shiny. So just by pulling him, I think I've already regrouped most of this box. As you know, Kato is a Planeswalker with ninjutsu. This one goes into the Ryuriko EDH deck for those who play CEDH. So, I mean, we have a ton of value. Just this card itself, I mean, already overshadows the Overlords. So you couldn't ask for a better pull. Lady Luck was on my side. And we're following up with another Mythic Room, a great pack, Funeral Room and Awakening Hill in one card. Basically a lot of graveyard mechanics and creature deaths. It goes in a lot of decks, a very strong pack. And again, another rare, Leyline of Transformation. As you know, Leylines, you get them in your opening hand and that sets you up well. This is great for a lot of changeling decks, a lot of versatility. Again, one of the best packs we could hope for. So very much thank you for Play Hoboken for this opportunity. And again, some of the more mechanically focused uncommon cards. One of the fear cards are being hunted, enchantment creatures. We have, again, artifact equipment. A lot of, what you'd expect to see as uncommon cards. Nothing to complain about. And again, really rounds out any draft or sealed environment. Great mechanics. But overall, a great pack. Just by itself already justifies getting a play booster box without a doubt. But let's see if we can keep our luck rolling. All right, the Beast token. Always fun to see tokens. Shiny Hardened Escort. Not a great card all on its own, but fun set piece. All right, Come Back Wrong. Another creature destruction for 3. Interestingly enough, there's some more mechanics with it where you can use it as a theft mechanic as well. Great value. But look, a mythic rare hiding right behind it. The Meathook Massacre 2. As you know, Meathook Massacre 1, back from a couple sets ago, was a popular fan favorite. And being able to pull this as a surprise mythic rare is a great experience. While perhaps this card doesn't go in every deck, it's one of those staples that the deck is known for. This set definitely has a lot of value, and this box in particular is just a gold mine. And of course, trial cards, Midnight Mayhem, Miasma Demon. These are limited bombs, not too effective in a constructed standard deck, but anything like this you pull in a draft or a sealed pre-release event like we have this upcoming weekend will be great to turn the tide. Okay, Fear of Surveillance, shiny. Again, part of the Fear set, just a fun cycle with different effects for each color. All right, so this is one of those dual lands that we were actually looking forward to. So unlike the less than 13 life dual land, this is pretty close to a true dual. Having one of the other 2 types of basic lands lets you tap for the other. This is definitely going into my Rakdos HDH deck this Friday, so looking forward to it. And of course, very fun, referential, uncommon art, great effects, enchantments, equipment. As you can see, the vibe of the 80s horror lives strong in this set. Of course, you can see glimmer effects, as I showed the token earlier, and the door effects. So a lot of different opportunities on how to build your standard decks using these new cards. And of course, some EDH staples ready to go like that dual land I just showed. All right, here are some counters. Again, enchantment auras playing a big part of this. The other dual land. And here we go. This card is going to provide a lot of value going forward. There's been a lot of discussion on Grievous Wound, which interestingly enough is not a curse, even though in Innistrad, similar cards were treated as curses. Basically, this is one of the few cards that actually enchant the player themselves. And in some decks like Nekuzar, this could be an instant game winner with a wheel. So definitely an EDH staple ready to go. And of course, the survivor mechanics that we know and love. artifact creatures for that flavor, and enchantments. This pack in particular covers all the basic essentials of what you'd expect and to see in a Duskmourn set, with a lot of different ways to build and different mechanics all ready to go. All right, the Glimmer token again, always cute. All right, double lucky. Here is the Azorius dual land that we're looking for. Plains or Island lets you tap for blue mana. Again, this one is shiny, which is always a pleasure. Absolutely goes into any EDH deck playing these colors. An instant staple, instant value. Again, all in all, a great box. And then we double up. Here's the Dimir dual land. Not shiny, but still incredibly efficient, valuable. So it's been a great day for those of us who play red, black, blue, white. We've almost covered the entire color spectrum, actually. And then here again, the gremlins. We have the doors. So these are the mechanics that may particularly not be game-changing, but they create good value plays. Of course, everyone's been enjoying the Dashing Bloodsucker art as reference to the old Blade movies. So again, you see the artist had a lot of fun with this set. And again, a lot of these cards, you can easily tell what the inspiration was. And it's kind of nice referential to those who've been playing Magic for a while. All right, the Gremlin token. All right, here's the Fear of Infinity again in a shiny version. The less fun dual land. All right, so this card is perhaps going to be one of the game-changing cards going forward. Enduring Vitality. Now, this is one of those chase cards. Basically, letting any creature you have tap for mana of any color. This is going to be a huge in ramp decks, mana-fixing decks. And again, even if it dies as a creature, its effect will still linger as an enchantment. So an immense amount of value just in this card, but as we've already gone through with some of the Overlords and Kato, this box has been great. And of course, the uncommons. Nothing here is particularly outstanding, but fundamentally solid cards that can go into any nascent deck that's being built. Again, great flavor. You see Menace, you see Surveil, a lot of mechanics from previous sets, providing synergy with the new mechanics introduced here in Duskmourn. The Glimmer token again. All right, Malevolent Chandelier. While not perhaps the best or most value card, it's always fun to have a potential graveyard mechanic. The dual land in Boros, but not the chase one. All right, here's a rare, Peer Past the Veil. Basically relying on graveyard mechanics, not too useful in every situation, but always a great way to get some recursion. And of course, Wicker with Threshold, Trial of Agony. We've seen these uncommons before. Here's a fun card with a lot of interesting conversation on the art. Conductive Machete, going back to basically the 80s slashers and when the survivors decide to fight back. And of course, the commons. Nothing standing out, but of course, always fun art and always fun references. Shiny Daggermaw Megalodon. Not the best card, but great if you have it as a sealed product or draft. The Undead Sprinter full art again. Again, not particularly the best rare, but it has its uses in Rakdos decks and zombie decks. But always full art is appreciative. And then some more survival and menace mechanics, rooms. Just this goes to show that each pack is done incredibly well because it provides lots of synergies. The reprint of Murder, always exciting, between the different mechanics and a way to draft to ensure that everyone has something to build towards. Very impressed with the variety in each pack I'm pulling. Tokens. All right, one of the rooms, shiny again. Some mana fixing, some Manifest Dread, the mechanics that we know and love. All right, one of the better mythic rooms. Again, using copies, triggered abilities, a lot of value, a lot of versatility. These will go in any blue decks that require abilities, triggers on the stack. And of course, one of the chase cards, Enduring Curiosity. Always great to see a lot of Glimmer support and blue support. basically this pack itself is a godsend to anyone trying to build blue, to try to do card draw, a lot of versatility and abilities, so very lucky here. And of course, one of our more interesting uncommons, Untimely Malfunction, a lot of versatility, preventing creatures from blocking, artifact destruction, and target changing, gives you a lot to do in red. And more interesting uncommons, here is Orphans of the Wheat, which is a nice callback to Children of the Corn, and of course, Eerie, Death Touch, enchantments, so all the classics you'd like to see. All right, here's a legendary token that we saw earlier today. This is the actual token from what was generated, so nice that I pulled it. All right, one of the dual lands, but not the chase ones. All right, here's a classic that people are looking forward to, the Chainsaw card. So Chainsaw is an equipment in red, instantly deals damage, and has interesting mechanics to make it boost even further. Always fun to see, and a staple of the set. All right, here's Mana Fixing with Overgrown Zealot. Again, a regular saw, not a chainsaw, but again goes with the theme of especially equipment. And here, artifact creatures, and again, more equipment. So as you can see, this was a particularly equipment-heavy pack, but provides a lot of fixing to a lot of creatures that perhaps might be more squishy. All right, here we go, Cracked Skull. Planes. Razorkin, Needlehead. So the Razorkins are a staple of the set as one of the new tribes. Again, a lot of versatility with first strike and damage. So for a 2-drop, not too bad at all. And again, this is a nice alternate art of FOMO, fear of missing out. So you see the border here is specific to the set to evoke the scene of a television. Great delirium mechanic, and of course, always a pleasure to see one of the rare alternate arts. And again, we see equipment, we see Orzhov mechanics in large creatures with death touch, with life gain, card law, more Children of the Corn, and of course, the commons rounded out, Possessed Goat in all of its glory, as a lot of people have found it rather humorous online. All right, our insect token. Here's a shiny door, again with glimmer mechanics. All right, here we go. The Balustrade Worm, always appreciative, a spell that can't be countered. A lot of mechanics working here. Trample, haste, delirium, all in all a great card, and of course comes with its own protection for being countered. All right, well here we go, the Tale of Tameo. So as you know, Tameo's in the lore, she had her scrolls destroyed, so we see what the scrolls would look like. Again, a lot of versatility in this card, especially to deal with milling, exiling, but great that I pulled it here because there's a lot of decks that they can go into. And again, just flavorful to have one of the cards that's key to the set. And here we go with Eerie mechanics, enchantment creatures, Fear of Isolation. So again, it just goes to show that these packs do have a lot of variety, versatility for how you want to draft and build your pack. Very excited for draft in the coming weeks. As you can see, a lot of players in the pod will have different avenues to build with a lot of support throughout. All right, Appendage Amalgam, one of the enchantment creatures, and one of the dual lands with 13 or less. All right, Waltz of Rage, sorcery, perhaps not the best one, but it gives you a lot of versatility when it comes to using your creatures as a removal, and then able to draw through exile. So a lot of opportunity there. Another Leyline. All right, this is a great Leyline that goes into a lot of decks. Leyline Mutation can alter the way your 5-color commanders work by letting you cast spells using all 5 colors. Great for treasure decks, a lot of value, goes into a lot of bigger splasher decks, Ur-Dragon, Slivers, a lot to work here. And again, Manifest Dread, the mechanic, the Scarecrow, artifact creatures with delirium, Eerie, just a lot of the staples that you expect to see with the mechanics. Always glad to see some artifacts to ground it out for some fixing, and ending with the Murder Reprint, one of the go-to Magic cards.
Definitely a black staple.
All right, here's our first shard token. So shards are going to be used as enchantments, a lot of synergy with enchantment abilities in this set, and of course, Scry Draw 1. Great way to help out with draw engines. Cult Healer, of course. All right, so we have, I believe the first time we're seeing in this pack, the Roaring Furnace Streaming Sauna is an enchantment room in 2 different colors. So again, a lot of different versatility, no maximum hand size, adding to draw, and at the same time dealing damage to opponent controls. A lot of options. Another Alanak, which again I'm a personal fan of. Fear of Being Hunted, Ethereal Armor, Draft to the Roots. So here are the uncommons that kind of define what this set is about, especially with Delirium and taking advantage of the different types of destruction in Duskmourn. Very Watchdog, just a fun callback to your faithful companion. The Boros Dueland. All right, so here we go. Speaking of 5-color commanders, here is Marina Vendrell. So if you know the lore of Duskmourn, she was the one responsible for letting the demon Valgaloth out. So of course, a Marina has to be built as a commander in a very specific way, and specifically takes advantage of our room mechanic. So again, a lot of interesting things you can do, and really pushes the value of the Duskmourn set. So excited to doing a commander with her. Altanak again, Keys to the House. Again, just as we pulled with Marina, a lot of activity using rooms. We may not pull it here, but as you recall, there is a new win con using a certain amount of unlocked rooms. Midnight Mayhem, Commune with Evil, just solid uncommon cards. And of course, large creatures, rooms to round out what we'll see in the pack. Turn Inside Out with one of the most riveting card arts, followed by Jump Scare. So definitely the artists here really understood what they were doing when it comes to the horror element. All right, here's the horror token. Again, props to the artists. A fancier Bear Trap. Dueland again. All right. So unblockable creatures that whenever they deal damage, a lot of different abilities. Draw a card, put counters on, become a copy. A lot of different versatility and options. So again, not perhaps the best card on its own, but goes into a lot of decks. So solid value and a lot of versatility. Here, more artifact creatures. And as I mentioned here, the treasure token mechanics with piggy banks. Spirits with Eerie, enchantments, creatures, and rooms. So again, as you can see, the mechanics are here. We've seen quite a few of these cards before, but at the same time, it just goes to show the ability to build out any way you want come draft time. So, Glimmer token, Cultist with Delirium, Dueland for mana fixing. All right, so here's one of the cards that people were talking about the set, the Doomsday Excruciator. Interesting new way to play. Mass exile from all libraries, all black mana, 6/6 flyer. This is definitely going to be one of those surprise bombs that people don't expect in mono black, and definitely going to be a staple in EDH decks to come. Very excited to play with it right here. But mana fixing is going to be an issue, so watch out for that. And some more enchantment creature fears, fear of failed tests, which many of us can relate to growing up. Artifact creatures, glimmers, so you see the mechanic staples coming up with Eerie. None of these particularly jump out as potentially game-changing, but again, fundamentally strong to round out that 40-card deck. All right, and then there's the treasure token I just spoke about. All right, so now we have the black Leyline, Leyline of the Void. So this goes without saying, but this is the ultimate graveyard hate card, basically wiping out graveyard mechanics from the get-go. Go with many decks, a lot of value, and still played often and commonly in many decks. Betrayer's Bargain, sacrifice mechanics, dealing damage, rooms, the Gremlin Generator, Vile Mutilator. So again, you can see a lot of sacrifice costs, but now not just sacrificing creatures, but enchantment sacrifices in play here. And of course, Survivor mechanics, artifacts, and the Razorkins. All right, Spirit Token. All right, here we go. One of the chase cards, Enduring Tenacity in a holographic form. So this is one of the better enduring cards, where whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. So not only does it have that, Sanguine Bond, Exquisite Blood vibes, but it has a target mechanic as well for those who still do crimes from the Outlaws of Thinner Junction set. So again, this is going to be already, I can see, one of the staples in black decks going forward, and I'm very glad to have gotten this one. Full Art Island. All right, so speaking of Enduring Tenacity, now we're on the white equivalent, Enduring Innocence. Lifelink, draw mechanics, solid card all around, helps speed up the game, and only at 3 mana cost. And of course, Survivors, fungus, artifact creatures with delirium, many scarecrows in this set, interestingly enough. And again, fundamentally strong commons, large bodies. We know what we're working with those. Okay, Shiny Given to Violence. Is it dual land? Okay, the Head Shredder. So one of these interesting cards that were talked about, especially about the crew mechanic. So as you know, with the survival mechanic, your survivors need to be tapped by your second main phase, and the Head Shredder gives them that crew outlet. A lot of synergy in Selesnya here for sure, and glad to have gotten it. Haunted Screen goes into any 5-color deck. A lot of options based on what colors you're playing in your specific deck. Of course, Pyroclasm makes its appearance again, dealing damage, and Survivors and Rooms. Shard Token. All right, come back wrong with shiny alternative art. So all the creature destruction is always fun, as well as the theft mechanic. You've seen this a little earlier, but great to see it in its full art variant. One of the dual lands. All right, so Cursed Recording. Interesting new mechanic. Gather time counters until a point where there are too many time counters, and it will basically wipe you automatically. High risk, high reward play. And of course, Delirium mechanic, Exile mechanic for removal. So you can see that there's a lot more focus on enchantment removal that we've seen in prior sets. And then, of course, the large body or basic effect, commons and uncommons that we've come to expect. All right, the Friendly Ghost, the dual land, and here we go, Ghost Vacuum, of course, calling back to Ghostbusters back in the day, and this is another graveyard hate mechanic, and going into it after a while, you'll get 6 mana, enough counters, and be able to pull off Spirit Summons. A lot of value, interesting play. Some enchantment creatures from the Fear set, Violent Urge, Fear of Falling. Again, dual colored rooms with enchantments, so more versatility than you expect from the monocolor rooms. And then the commons that are there to run on your deck. Always great to see Murder and the Possessed Goat as fan favorites. All right, the horror token, one of the trials. All right, Omnivorous Flytrap. Again, the delirium mechanic makes it an effect, and that's if you have more than 4 different card types, or in this case 6 different card types among cards you control, you have in your graveyard. A large amount of effects come into play. This one dealing with counters, again specifically built for sacrifice and removal. And then of course the demons, which are known as the set, and artifacts. We'll see a lot of repeats as we've covered most of the set, but always good to see some fan favorites. The Fears, the Unsettling Twins from The Shining, so fun callbacks. All right, so here are the treasure tokens. As you'll see, even the art for treasure token seems a little bit more mysterious and eerie. Another of the Human Assassin set, the Sawblade Skin Ripper. All right, Reluctant Role Model. So this card was talked about as a way to boost other cards, give flying, lifelink, counters, a lot of versatility, and only at a 2-drop, it's definitely going to generate a lot of value. And then break down the door, channeling Jack Nicholson, Oblivious Bookworm, again, you can think back of many movies, and the Fear set. So again, nice combination of cards and that are throwbacks to movies that we can recognize and at the same time provide a lot of value. Second to last card pack. All right, the Beast token, Live or Die, the shiny version. All right, so full art. Well, alternative art, Valgavoth's Lair, an enchantment land. Mana fixing right from the get-go, as well as enchantment synergy. A lot of value, can go in a lot of decks from the get-go. And then, of course, some more referential cards. Fear of Abduction with the Alien Grace, Stay Silent. And, of course, a lot of the survivors that we've already covered, detectives. All right, and now finally, on their last pack of the box. Let's see if we can end on a high note. Okay, the Gremlin token, Fear of Imposters, and FOMO, Fear of Missing Out. We've seen this one a little earlier on. Great, draw a card, discard a card, Delirium mechanic, and of course, uncommons. You'll see the Eerie mechanic coming back into play, Valgavoth references, and an Arabella, which was one of the more talked about cards from this set, and of course, the fundamental commons. So, as you remember, we've had quite a few great pulls in this particular box. We'll highlight, of course, with Kato being one of the strongest pulls that we'll have. Several ley lines. We have the Meathook Massacre, of course. Dual lands that are going to go in almost any commander set. Enduring Vitality. Enduring Curiosity. Tameo. Leyline of the Void. Doomsday Excruciator. Marina Vendrell. Leyline of Mutation. So, as you can see just from the few cards that I've brought back here during Innocence and Tenacity, that this play booster box had an amazing value, a lot of chase cards, and definitely a great unboxing experience. So thank you to everyone here at Play Hoboken for giving me this opportunity. And be sure to come out to the Magic the Gathering Duskmourn pre-release this Friday, September 20th at noon at 6 p.m., Saturday, September 21st at noon and 6 p.m., and Sunday, September 22nd at 2 p.m. Hope to see you there and have a great time.